everybody. So I had somebody ask me like a while ago already. I want to say like over a week ago, I think it's been. She basically asked if I could do a stream with her regarding interracial relationships, and I told her right now I'm not going to be doing any live streams. Maybe in the future, maybe after I have my baby, I'm not sure. But I told her that what I can do is do a video with my husband, just kind of talking about, I guess, our experiences and our thoughts on just the whole topic or whatever. So that's basically what I'm going to do in this video. So, and I think I already have a video like this on my channel. I think I did one, but I'm not sure if I put it on private or not, because I was like, I don't know if this has anything to do with my channel. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. So, okay. So first and foremost, I'll get the gist of my main thoughts on this. First of all, I could care less who marries who, what race of person, all of that, ethnicity. I do not care. From the depths of my soul, I could care less. I'm one of those live and let live people. You can do whatever you want, be with whoever you want. I would say find the best person for you, regardless of what color they are, what their ethnicity is, their race is, and whatnot. And that's, to me, that's what I did. So, do you have anything to share?
Can I curse?
You can curse. I mean, we have my sister is watching my daughter right now, so she's not with us. So you can curse.
Okay. Well, if I curse, it's by accident. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, you can curse.
All right. So, personally, I think it goes both ways. When one, in that you want to be with your own kind, quote unquote, whatever the hell that shit means. And then you can also go the other way, where you know your own kind. I guess there's more than two ways. You know your own kind and you don't want to be with your own kind, or.
Yeah.
Or what I think people tend to find out is that other people are not that different from themselves.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, when you talk about family, people make the assumptions that family across cultures are different in the sense that they're not close-knit or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why people make that type of assumptions, like families are not important. Families are the basis of society, right? Which is also constructed. Mm-hmm. But I think, when you're in a relationship, if you're your own person, and I think really strongly about this, in that your family does have some say, but really, if you feeling somebody and they feeling you back and they give you the respect that you deserve and the respect that your family deserves, but your family keeps putting them down, then maybe your family don't deserve them. Maybe you deserve him or her, but your family don't deserve him or her. So at that point, you make your own stand. Are you your own person, or does your family dictate your well-being?
Right. And it's not even just family, right? So maybe you can have like family that's cool with the person that you're with. Maybe on both sides they can be cool, but maybe you're getting outside societal pressures from people
outside
from your
noise.
race.
That's what I call it. It's noise.
Right.
Man. It's noise.
Is. And what you really need to like come to terms with is, if that's stuff that really bothers you, like, then you shouldn't be with that person, period. Because it's you're wasting that person's time, and if by chance you get the sense that they feel that way, then you shouldn't be with them either. Because they're just wasting. You're just wasting each other's time, and there's no point. So, like, for example, the young lady that asked me to do this video, by her picture, she looks like a young, Black American girl. And so I'm going to use you as an example. So, for example, let's say you like Latino men, right? You might get pushback from, like, I would say more so from the older generation women within the Latin community, but you might get it from the younger women too. I'm not going to lie. You might, like, especially if it's like a good looking Latin guy, and if they see, a black girl got, one of our quote unquote men, they might get all stupid with you or whatever. So that might happen. I can't say it would never happen. What I can say is from my experiences, because I've seen that combination before. I've had people in my family date, Black American women before. And from what I've seen, I really don't see the negative type pushback from Latin women when it comes to that, but it might happen. I don't know for sure, but I've never personally seen it myself. And you also might get pushback from the men of your group. So, you might get pushback from Black American men, and they might look at you shady or whatever. So, it might happen. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. I will say that even from our experiences, from my husband and I's experiences, usually when we get like looks or mean grills or whatever, it doesn't happen a lot. But when it does happen, a lot of times it's with older people. And the only other times that there was times that it happened with younger guys in where you used to live, but those guys were actually, he used to live in let me finish. You used to live in a predominantly Asian and Italian area, community.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I used to visit him in that community, boy, the Italian guys looked like they wanted to rip his head off. Oh my God, they were so upset. And there's been a few times where Latin guys would look or whatever sometimes, and there was one time during a parade where a Latin guy actually stepped to my husband and was like, is that your wife or whatever? And my husband, he said, he said,
is that yours?
Right. And I'm here standing here like, what the hell? It was the weirdest thing to me.
No, he was giving me respect.
He did. He complimented me. He said I was beautiful or whatever. But it was, it was awkward. Stuff like that does happen. So, and then, there has been times with Asian women, for example, when I've been with my husband, and it's always the ones, or it's for the most part, that are like with white dudes that would give me like a crazy look. It's like the weirdest thing. And then in Chinatown, sometimes like we would get like the older women looking at us wrong, or the older women looking at me wrong, like rolling their eyes or whatever. And so, it happens. But like that's on the outside, so I could give a damn. Like I genuinely don't care. Other than that, like if that's the type of stuff that, if that genuinely bothers you, then that's not something that you should even, pursue if that bothers you. It shouldn't though. I mean, I really don't think it should.
No, but a lot of people are also sensitive to everything else around them, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember, I'm not going to name names, but she's African, right? And I remember she wasn't willing to go outside of anyone that was from Africa, by the way. So if you was Black American, she wasn't going to give you any play.
Yeah.
But, her thing was, I can't imagine bringing someone that my family can't relate back to the village. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay. Yeah.
That's understandable too. Like when I hear Latin people on here, like on this platform, and they're like, oh, it's best to stick to to stick to your own, to stick with other Latin people. Don't get me wrong. Like I totally understand it, especially in this country. Once you're living in America, that's it. You become so, indoctrinated into this culture that once a few generations pass, it's a lot of times it's lost. So I could understand why people would be like, okay, it's best for us to stay with our own kind for that reason, so we don't lose culture, or because you want to hold on to your culture.
But that's assuming that you're going to lose culture because you're blended.
But it's true. But the thing is, it's not even necessarily but I think just living in America, period, even if you don't quote unquote blend, in a way you do lose a lot of culture after being here for a few generations. Like there's aspects of my culture that I have, but I definitely know it's not to the extent that I wish it was, and a lot of that has to be with me being so far removed and so Americanized. To a large extent, I am very proud of being an American. I'm very proud to overcome what I have, and what my family has overcome, my parents, my grandparents, growing up in this country, and the hardships that they went through, and living through the civil rights movement and all of that, the stuff that they lived through. That means a lot to me, because it's not that many Latin people that have gone through or lived through those same things. So I do find an appreciation for that. but yeah, like me personally, like I think I kind of said this in the beginning, but like my family personally, like I had an uncle that was like that he dated a black American woman, right? Yeah. And then I had an aunt who dated a black Dominican, and in both cases, my grandmother from my father's side didn't approve of those relationships. My grandparents, all four of my grandparents three of them were from Puerto Rico, one was from Mexico, and all three of them were still very culturally connected. I would still consider them, they were foreign. So, from my experiences, it's really the foreign Latin people that kind of get a certain way when it comes to like mixing like that. And even in those cases, even though in my aunt's case, for example, it was a Dominican, fine, he was a black, just the fact that he was a black Dominican was something that my grandmother didn't approve of. And my grandmother barely spoke a lick of English. So, that's kind of why the times in the past where I said when it comes to like topics of colorism and whatnot, I said, from what I've seen, it tends to be, I find that more foreign people a lot of times are less accepting than people that are more Americanized. But that's just my experiences. So, and that's, my personal experience from my own family, right? Trying to think of what else.
That's not trying to get too deep into psychoanalyzing why, because we all know, there's this. We all know that there's this thing with America where back in the days, anyhow, anything that's dark was bad, and that's what was associated with it. If you're darker, even though you might be from the same patria or whatever you want to say, right? Yeah, you're one of them. You're not one of us. So they ended up making us separate.
And even within my husband's like culture, like even because for Chinese people, he's considered on the dark side, and even he went through things with his his family, who's they're foreign. They don't speak any English either, and even to an extent, he's went through experiences with stuff like that with colorism and whatnot.
I went through racism.
Yeah, and racism, right?
Back in the days, right? I was with my ex. This was in my late teens. An old Puerto Rican man said to us as we were passing, "Que nepa por que nepa y chino por chino."
Yeah.
Right?
That doesn't surprise me. And that, again, and look at the person who said it, the source. They didn't say it to you in English. They said it to you in Spanish.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I know who it was.
So someone who is, I know it was directed at her.
She was the traitor.
Right.
Meanwhile, we're both taking the same bus.
Right. Yeah.
Don't make you any better.
Yeah. That's how it is, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, in a lot of cases, it's like even with our relationship, and like let's say the Latin people that have given me problems or whatever, it was always like, again, older or like foreign. They really didn't speak English like that. But hilariously enough, a lot of times people think my husband is fucking Mexican. Speaks to him in Spanish and everything. So then there's that aspect of it that they might not be able to figure out what he is. So, you have that part.
No, but really, the message really is, though, if you feel someone like that, people outside of your relationship shouldn't matter.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So let's say your parents are against it or whatever. When that baby comes, most of the times, they're going to love that baby.
Right.
They're just retarded right now, but later on, they're going to be okay. And that's fine.
Another thing that I wanted to touch on is there's a lot of crap when it comes to like social media, even just straight up YouTube stuff. Let's leave it to the confines of YouTube, because I don't have other social media accounts, right? Like, I have an Instagram that I barely use. I created an Instagram account that was meant for like YouTube. I never use it either. I'm just not a social media person, right? But from what I notice on YouTube, like, you hear with some Latin content creators and some of the things that they say, and it may sound as though they really hate either black people or white people, and this is coming from both sides. Terrible. And it is terrible. But the reality is, most of us are not like that, and most of us don't have these one-sided biases like that, to these extremes that some of these people have, whether it's one side or the other.
What I find,
and you got to be really careful with basing your opinions just on the stuff that you see online, because a lot of these people, more than half of them, you don't know what they look like, you don't know who they are, you don't know why they're saying the shit that they're saying.
Yeah, somehow they're all relationship experts,
right? And then there's the other thing, that all of them are relationship experts. None of them are in relationships. And I'm not saying that people should just get into a relationship just to get into one, because no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if you're going to vet people and get into relationships with people and listen to certain people, you vet everybody the same exact way. There's not one group that you vet more than another group. That's stupid.
That's right.
So, let me tell you, because I've met some great Puerto Rican people, some shitty Puerto Rican people. I've met great Latin people, and I've met some real terrible fucking Latin people. And I've met great and, good and bad in every race, basically. So, and that's just the world. That's how things are. And you may connect with somebody that's not of your, racial or ethnic group, and that's just how it is, especially in this country. It's very, it can happen very easily.
Not for nothing, like that racial and ethnic stuff, those are restricted to, like, not that it's restricted, but mainly when you say you're one particular group, right? That's because in your country, wherever your motherland is, y'all only have that one group.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go to some of these other places where there's more natives, let's say. Whatever happened to the natives? And we all know Latinos are mixed with Euro, Native, and African, right?
Mostly, yeah.
And to some extent, is more or less of the other, let's say. But for some reason, the native blood are largely ignored. Mm-hmm. What's that about?
Yeah. There's some, depending on which which people from Latin America you're speaking about. There are people who are that do try to hold on to the native stuff, but they really are drowned out by the other sides. I will say they really are drowned out. Don't base how good people are just on their fucking skin tone or their race or anything else, trying to hold one group above another group or one group below another group just for such stupid things.
Right. And things are always, for some reason, things are always extreme, right? Like you want to extremely tie yourself with white colonialism, or you want to extremely tie yourself with Africa and take back knowledge or take back your identity of self. But again, when you're Latino, you're missing the other groups. Certain parts of Latin America, you're going to have more native. Certain parts of America, you're going to have some Japanese and some Chinese mixed in. Right. So, for example, you look at the Brazilian, I don't want to say wet market, but their seafood industry. That was totally mimicked. That was a total mimic of the Japanese seafood industry. So cultures give and take each other everything. Right.
And that's the other thing too, especially when it comes to Latin people. I could understand why Latin people are like, stick with other Latin people, right? At least, right? When they say stuff like that. I get it. But then when people start breaking it down to just race specific things, I find it so stupid, because most of us are racially mixed. So it's like, we wouldn't even exist. Most of us would not exist if if our ancestors didn't racially mixed. So I find that incredibly dumb.
Right. And then also when you go by, like, let's say phenotype or whatever, you could look like, let's say 80% African, right? But your DNA comes back and says you're only 10% African,
right?
And that happens a lot.
Or like 50% or something like that. Yeah, it happens. It happens. And then there's sometimes where people will say that somebody's lying about their DNA because they look a certain way and their DNA results come out a different way. It's just, it is what it is. That's stuff that you can't control, right? Phenotype versus genotype and all of that crap. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I gotta say. If you find somebody that you click with and I don't know. If you find somebody that you click with, that's really all that should freaking matter. That's really all that should matter. You know, there's so many other things when it comes to relationships, and people focus on just that. It's like I can just tell. It's just these people have no experiences with relationships whatsoever.
Well, also
you know?
what people focus on is everything outside of themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're trying to impress the next person. And that's the stupidest thing to ever do, is to, like, you know, worry about what the next person thinks, or worry about what your group of friends think, or worry about what your homegirls or your homeboys think. You know, like, that's the dumbest thing on the planet. That is the dumbest thing to base a relationship on. And there really are people that really want, like, that prize. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially guys, because guys feel the need to have to impress other guys. So it's like they want the girl that everybody else wants. So they want, you know what I mean? And it's the dumbest thing, because in the end of the day, you're the one that has to deal with that woman. And if you're a woman, you're the one that has to deal with that man. So, like, to be, you know, just, you know, choose people based off of what you like, not what everybody and, you know, all your friends like and all that other bullshit, you know?
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of, like, those other questions or statements when I was coming up, right? Like, for my family, it was like, yeah, we would like someone that, you know, if you get with someone, we would like them to be Chinese because communication. But that's not an issue, right? Because they can't really speak English, but there's never been a problem with communication.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Our cultures are different. There's that excuse of why you shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
But that's never been a problem for us. If anything, we built on each other's cultures and enjoy even more, I guess, celebrations, for lack of a better word right now.
Yeah. Right? And, you know, relationships are, you know, they shouldn't be, like, hard. You know what I mean? I'll say that. Like, relationships shouldn't be that hard. So when people say relationships are hard and everything is hard, if it's that hard, then you're not in the right relationship. It shouldn't be that hard.
That's another thing, right?
know?
If you've been in so many relationships that you feel jaded, maybe it's not the other person. Maybe
it's
you haven't looked deep enough inside yourself.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You know, like, let's say people that want to date outside of their race or their ethnicity because they're tired of going through the same thing with their own group of people, right? If you're attracting the same type of person with your own group of people, guaranteed 100%, because I've seen it with my own eyes, within my own family, okay? If you're attracting a shitty, you know, the same shitty type within your own group, you're going to attract that same type of person in a different race of person. It's going to be the same shit.
Right.
It is going to be the same. Yup. Just because you switch race does not mean that it's going to solve all your problems. It doesn't. Guarantee. I swear to God, it doesn't. Oh my God, I swear on my grandparents' grave, everybody's grave that I know who's passed, I swear to God, it doesn't. It does not change it.
The same flock together.
Yup. It does not change it. You will just attract the same type of personality with a different person.
Right. And
with
don't
a different
think you're
looking
gonna find
person.
a good relationship in a bar or a club.
Yeah, I don't know what that bar or club stuff. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. which is probably true, but yeah, you know, make sure you have yourself healed before you go out there in the world and try to, you know, be with somebody. Just make sure that you're whole before you go and try to get with somebody. If you have a lot of resentments, because I hear people online who seem to have a lot of resentments, like, let's say if it's, I'm gonna just use the example of Black Americans, because on here there's been that whole gender war stuff, and whether it's still going on or not, that I don't know. I can't speak for that because I don't know. But, you know, from what I've heard from both sides, is both sides putting each other down all the time. And, you know, sometimes they act as if going with different races of people are going to be the complete answer. And then they end up having very similar problems with people of different races. You know, so you're going through the same shit. Why? Because you're attracting the same type of person, just in a different physical package. That's it. You know? So, just be careful with who you listen to on here, because there's a lot of jaded people, and those jaded people, sometimes misery loves company, and they just want you to be jaded right along with them.
Right. They're not necessarily
right. They're not trying to. Right. They're not necessarily. It might be. They might have some advice, but it might be coming from a place of anger and hurt, and they just want everybody to feel their pain and everybody to go through what they're going through, and just be careful with that. Again, not trying to say just get with anybody. Just be careful with who you listen to. None of us are perfect out here. So.
And you know what? If you're just coming out of a relationship, maybe you need a longer break and just chill the fuck out.
Yeah, that's true too.
Stop trying to sleep with people, or stop trying to feel like you need someone.
Right.
Or stop trying to. Sometimes feel like they can't live life without having someone else with them.
You know what else it is too? It's so many people with social media, they need validation, and I can't imagine like how much harder it must be for younger people, in a sense, when it comes to having social media and everything is social media based. And in a way, it's like you guys have been programmed to do nothing but seek validation. With social media. Yeah. No, I would say more so younger people, because they're the ones that are more into social media than there's older people on social media too. But I would say like younger people, maybe even younger women, they get so used to like, I gotta post these pictures. I gotta have, if I don't have this many likes, people don't like me. That means people don't like me. Oh man, that means I'm not attractive. That means I'm not, trying to think of just I'll use one of these dumb terms, high value woman, whatever, something retarded, like oh, I can't be that great because I don't, this woman has this many likes and I don't have that many likes, and therefore I'm not the best person. And people are really like seeking validation from the outside more than anything now.
Well, that's the same thing though. They're looking for outside noise to validate people, them.
Right. So
whether it's your parents or
social media.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because all of that really don't matter to who you really are. Because at the end of the day, you know who got to live with you? Yourself.
You got to live with yourself. Yeah. And and the other thing is like, I don't care about who gets with who. If you're gonna please try not to fucking get pregnant. Like if people are gonna have kids, like if people decide to have kids, like just take care of your goddamn kids. That's the only thing I ask when it comes to people getting with other people. All I care about is take care of your goddamn kids. Because specifically with Latin and Black people, that is one thing that we have a really hard time with, is that fucking out of wedlock birth rate. When I was growing up, the bulk of all the girls and boys I went to school with did not know their fathers. And that was Black and Latin kids. Most of them didn't know their fathers. I was one of the few people that knew my father. And that is a big deal. Like, please, if you're gonna look for anything, try to look for somebody that you're like, okay, if I get this person pregnant, I'm gonna at least take care of my kid. like at least do that. Or don't get people pregnant at all. Just get on birth control, use protection. Just don't bring kids into the world that are gonna be having to deal with one parent, and that's it. That's the only thing I genuinely care about. Everything else, I don't care about.
These broken homes.
Yep, all these broken homes. Mixed kids are some good-looking ass kids. So you want to have a kid with a different race of person, and I will tell you, the kids come out cute as shit. My daughter's fucking adorable. We used to have people where we used to live, and like if there was times that we were like walking down the block or just taking her out for a little bit when she was first starting to walk, they would literally drive by us and scream out the window, "Oh my God!" They would stop the car and yell, "Oh my God, she's so gorgeous! Oh my God, she's so adorable!" I mean, anytime we took her outside, like the massive amounts of attention that she would get for being a kid. She's a cute baby. She's still a cute kid, So the chances are you're gonna have beautiful kids, right? But just because you have beautiful kids, they're beautiful, but please take care of them, because they didn't ask to be here.
No, that's true.
They did not ask to be here.
Yo, you know what else though too? don't get too caught up with like how your kids are going to look, because
That's
sometimes
true.
your kid might not take up any one side specific look or one side at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the kid might just come out looking like either the mom side or the dad side only.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? They're still gonna look good.
Yeah. So, it's true. It shouldn't be the main focus of anything, but it is a positive when we're talking about interracial relationships, that the kids do come out really cute. So that is like a plus side to things. But other than that, man, yeah, go with people who are gonna love and who are gonna respect you first and foremost, and don't worry about the people on the outside. And if you're with somebody that's worried about people on the outside, then fuck them. You don't need to be with that person.
Right. If they're not willing to challenge other people for you, they're not worth it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because if let's say you're facing the same problems, right? But you're overcoming it, and you're like, that's my dude or that's my chick, and I'm staying with them regardless of what y'all say. And the other person is starting to be like, my mom is saying shit, and I don't think that we should be together long term. So what the fuck are we even doing together right now?
Yeah. No. Yep.
But that goes back to what you say. When you vet people the same, regardless of if they're my own kind or if they different.
Right. Don't go by that shit where it's like, if it's a different race of person, that you gotta vet them more or less,
or I gotta give them
a
pass.
yeah, get the hell out of here with that crap. Get out of here.
Your
with
standards
that crap.
need to be the same across the board.
Standards.
If you have high standards, and that speaks on another thing, right? Like when you have standards, you better do an inventory on yourself and know what you're offering.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes people have like this dream of like, I'm gonna get me a dime. Well, what the fuck is a dime?
Right.
Well, a dime means they're gonna have a 6-figure job or more, and they're gonna look good, dress a certain way.
Right.
Well, what about you, motherfucker?
Right.
You work out?
Yeah.
Can you even breathe if you was to have sex?
Right. Even if they do work out, like, are you working at Walmart? Like, you work out, fine, but are you just a full-time blogger and that's your life? Like, and you ain't making shit, but you have all these high demands for whatever woman that you're trying to get with. And, the same thing for women. Like, you can't be a 250, 300 pound woman and think like, oh, I'm gonna get with it. I deserve a man with with a 6-pack, and he needs to look like this and make this much money. Like, no, chick. You may need to reevaluate that. You may need to reevaluate that. So
but really, the whole point of me bringing that up is, one, know your own qualities,
right,
and know your flaws. Because when you know your flaws, you can work to improve yourself. And when you improve yourself, you're actually elevating yourself in your game.
Yeah. Very true. But I don't know. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, a lot of times when people fail to see what's wrong with them or things that they can make improvement on, they're trying to say or think or believe that they're already perfect in existence. Meanwhile, no one is perfect.
Yeah. You got a lot of, really, narcissistic type people out there who think that their shit don't stink. They think they're perfect. They think that nothing can be changed.
That they never had a perfect relationship.
Right. They never had a perfect.
It's always someone else's fault.
Right. It's always somebody else's fault. That there's nothing about them that needs to change. Like, come on, man. It's always good. Wild. It's always good to have standards, but at the same time, you also need to, work on yourself too, and continue to work on yourself. Because, like I said, nobody is perfect. So. Right.
If you a bouncer making 6 figures, let's say you a bouncer or security making 6 figures, and you trying to land yourself a doctor. If you always gonna be in the club, what's the chances of you finding a doctor who works pretty much 5-6 days a week? Right? And they're usually tired as hell, too tired to be up in the club. So how so maybe you gotta, like, that's what I'm saying. Recognize your flaws. Your flaws might be your strategy, so maybe the strategy is to not look for them in clubs. So what else can you do?
Yeah. Yep. Try meeting people in person. God. It seems like nowadays, try. It's so many things. Match. Everything. So there's so many things, but it just, yeah, try meeting people in person. Try meeting people in person and vet who it
Try
is.
talking.
And try talking,
Because a lot of times people can't even fucking write decent English.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me you know someone because
oh,
you
yeah,
texted
oh my
them.
God. I look at these comment sections on YouTube and I'm like, holy shit, these people, is this how people talk in the world? Like, holy crap, this is terrible. No, sometimes that's how they talk too. It's like,
It's not what I mean.
It's both.
It's what your ass wrote.
Yeah.
I'm not you. How am I supposed to know what you're trying to represent?
Like what in the world? Like some people really like, and there's some of these people are older. That shit is sad. That's not even fun. That's not even cute anymore. That's just like, what the fuck is wrong with
misspelling,
you?
but when like the message is not conveyed in the best way.
Yeah, that's not cool. That is not cool. That ain't cute. But I don't know. I think that's about it for my words of wisdom. I can't think of anything else. I don't. Let's say if the girl that asked me that, let's say if she likes Asian dudes, I should have got into that. Oh. Damn.
Talk about it.
Should I?
Talk about it.
Like the reactions that you get, right? Let me tell you something. From what I've noticed, like when it's black women, let's say with Asian guys, right?
Oh, it's pretty bad.
This is the one thing that none of you guys know. The Latin people and the black people that watch me probably don't know this shit at all. So here's some stuff, and this would even go for advice for the guys, right? So when I see Asian women out there, right, and I've seen them in interracial relationships, whether they be with white dudes or black dudes, right? The one thing I noticed is that they don't get bad looks. And again, it's with either white dudes or black dudes. For the most part, the community doesn't care. Like the people within the Asian community don't like frown upon or nothing. Like they don't care. Oh my God, that's a turkey. There's literally there's a turkey crossing the road. I am dead ass serious. That's a turkey crossing. I can't. Anyhow, so when it comes to like white or black Americans, right, and Asian women, the community doesn't care. However, if it's a black woman with an Asian man, oh my God, the looks that the people from the community give are so bad. And there's been so many times that I've seen people, like when we used to go to H Mart.
You got some bad looks too.
I got bad looks too. They give me bad looks too. But there was one time that I remember going with my husband to H Mart, and there was a couple, and it was a black woman, and I think he looked like he might have been Korean, the guy that she was with, and they had kids and everything, cute ass kids, right? And I saw they were grilling them so bad that the woman looked like she was so uncomfortable that I got to the point where I started grilling the people that were grilling her, because I'm like, what the mind your fucking business. It's like. And normally, like normally I'm one of those people that don't give a shit. But like when I see like some shit that just seems like straight out injustice, like just blatant fucking injustice, I'm like, oh my God, like mind your fucking business. Like there was that part of me. I'm here looking at these people like, God, like rolling my eyes at them because I felt bad for her. Like I felt bad for the couple, and they got kids and everything. So I will say that when it comes to Asian, like the guys, and if you're a black woman and you want to date an Asian guy, that's something that you're gonna have to be ready for, because I noticed that the treatment with the women getting with the men is so much different. It's like the people don't care when the Asian women get with the other groups of dudes. They don't care. They really don't.
The belief is that the seeds are spread through the male. That's
why they don't care.
So if you tarnish the seeds, that's why they're grilling you.
That's messed up. It's messed up. But yeah, it's really messed up.
But that's why I said what I said. If your guy or your girl is going to stand by you despite that bullshit, that is a good person for you to be with. Yeah. But
yeah, I wanted to get that out because I keep forgetting to mention that. I'm like, that's a really good point, and I think that's something that the Latin or the Asian people, the Latin or the black people that may watch my videos, you guys may not know that, but that's just a little tidbit of something. So if you're, a black or Latin dude and you want to get with an Asian chick, the chances are ain't nobody going to give you a hard time. But if it's the other way around, you better be ready for it. You better be ready for you. Holy crap, you better be ready for it. Yep. And that is Latin. I will say, if you're a black American chick and you want to get with a Latin dude, there's no way. the hate would be nowhere near anything with them getting with an Asian person. Asian people, the Asian community is so much more different when it comes to that. So it's very different. It's very, very different. It'll be way more accepting with the Latin community than, from what I've seen. That's just from what I've seen, but that doesn't mean that should stop you if you have, if you have interest in, Asian guys or whatever. That should not stop you at all. But I'm just saying you just have to be prepared for that. So
can I talk about the fetish shit?
No, go ahead, talk about it.
I was gonna say, is it here that time? No, not here.
We could get into fetish. I wouldn't mind touching stuff on fetish stuff. Go ahead.
Not all Asian dudes are gonna have nice pecs, nice six packs, like in the damn animes. Some of them might be really brown face, brown bellies. And for the guys, Asian pussy is not sideways.
I've heard guys on here say that one time. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I heard that. I used to hear stuff like that when I was a little kid. That the Asian girls thing is sideways. That's retarded. Or they ask if their hair is if their pubic hair is straight. Stupid stuff.
Civilization where 100 years ago, Asian men were seen as very, not toxic. What the hell is the word I'm looking for? That they're very enticing or very highly desired, very virile. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think so.
Like really strong in sex and can make babies, but now Asian men been feminized in the media.
Yeah. There's a huge thing to make. I actually think it's to make all men effeminate, but yeah, I definitely see Asian men being portrayed as very effeminate. I see the same thing with black men too, being portrayed as being very effeminate. So just in general, I kind of see that non-white men in general, most specifically,
but they remove they remove masculinity out of Asian men.
Yeah, like they're doing their best with that.
Right?
Yeah. It's true. So, yeah, and as far as like the fetishizing stuff, like the other thing that I find weird is that I've heard women complain about being fetishized. And I always think to myself, well, what's so bad about being fetishized? Like, I'm still kind of like lost with that. Like, what's so bad about it?
They expect Asian women to be always horny.
Yeah, but
highly sexual creatures.
I get it, but the thing is that from what I've noticed, because people say, like, for example, some groups of men really fetishize Latin women, right? Mm-hmm. I'll just use Latin women as an example, okay. That they fetishize Latin women. But the thing is that Latin men fetishize Latin women. So, like, what's the difference? It's the same shit. And I think that amongst all groups, I think, all the groups of men fetishize their own women in some way, shape, or form. So it's not just other groups that fetishize. It's like that people do it amongst their own kind.
I guess that's true.
So that's why I kind of get like I get a little, confused about that. It's like, well, I mean, what's the difference? If you have, one person fetishizing you over another person it's the same shit. I mean, as long as they're not treating you like an object and like all you're good for is sex and all, obviously that's different. But yeah, I always found that whole fetishization stuff strange. But I think that's about it for me. This has been a long ass video, so.
All right.
I think that's about. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I think that's about it. Hopefully this made sense. Hopefully you listened to the whole entire thing. I know it was really long.
All over the place.
And everywhere, but a lot of times my videos are all over the place, so it is what it is.
It's not for everyone.
Not for everybody.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, basically.
Don't watch. Go back to your mom's.
Go back to your mom's basement.
Go back to petting your dog. Eating your ramen soups. Yeah, pretty much. All right. So, take it easy, guys. Hope that was some type of informative, I guess. And I guess entertaining, at least.
Entertaining, yeah. All right. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.